Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
How am I?
We didn't practice that.
No, we
It
should
seemed
have.
very
We should have
natural.
planned an intro.
It seemed very natural. Hello, everyone.
Hi, we have some people watching
Great.
on Facebook.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Sarah, Nicolas, aka Aria Kane.
Thank you, Nick, for volunteering to do this.
No, this is my pleasure because I wanted to, I got to know you a long time ago. So just to introduce myself, Nick Georgoudiou.
Yeah.
I'm the host of a show called To a Certain Degree on WPRK in Orlando. And Sarah, aka Aria, was kind enough to get up super early.
It was very
early to come on the show. The show starts at 7 a.m. on Monday. And they got up, they came to the show, and they were fantastic. And so getting to talk to you again in this format, under pressure with an audience, is going to be so much fun. And I have so many questions for you.
Yeah, I just want to say hi, Madison. Hey, Kelsey. Hey, DeLorean. And I see Jay is watching on YouTube too. So thanks for coming, Jay.
All right.
All right.
Should we get started?
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is for Coastal Magic Convention, and we want to get to know you a little bit better. So this is your spotlight for this event.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I am a really good interviewer. I'm good at interviewing.
Yes.
I interview good.
Yeah. No.
English is not great for me, though. So let's start out. I just want to get to know you as a writer, what you like and don't like. So we're going to play a little game called Love or Rockets. Okay. And this is the trope edition.
Love or rockets?
Yeah. Instead of saying yes or no or up or down, love if you're for something, because love is great. What could be better except for Valentine's Day, which kind of sucks. But rockets, not so great. Sometimes explode, sometimes take animals into space where they learn technology that might be used against us in the future.
What?
Huh? So love if you're for something,
all right.
Rockets if you're against it.
All
and this is the trope edition. This is the literary trope edition.
Yeah.
How do you feel about love triangles?
Love.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Not more than other shapes?
I mean, other shapes are fun too. I like the ones that look like, I don't know what you call it.
Rhombus?
Like the star that you draw when you're a kid, where everything crosses over.
So like a pentagram? Is there like a demonic level to it?
No.
Okay, great. Oh,
no.
Just asking. I'm the audience surrogate here, so I have to ask these questions that they're curious about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, if it's done well, sometimes it's done poorly.
Yeah.
So, but I guess you could say that for anything. Like,
that's true, but it's a literary device that comes in handy that you can use. It doesn't always have to be three people, which is nice, and it doesn't always have to be a triangle.
Yeah.
Could it be multiple triangles, almost like a Venn diagram of triangles over triangles? Okay.
Yeah.
Love circles. That's another type of literature, I think. Okay. We're learning a lot about you. Homecoming as a literary trope, like especially to a small town. Like, I'm coming home to my small town I escaped from, and now I'm back. How do you feel about that one? Love or rockets?
I'm going to say rockets, even though I enjoy a lot of stories with that trope, but just because, like, I never really had a hometown, so I just don't get it.
You don't know what it's like to go to. Should we manufacture a small town for you?
No. Absolutely.
Do you want to take the place of someone returning to their small town?
I did actually volunteer to take someone's place at their 20-year high school reunion once.
What? Okay. Hang on a second. We may need to unpack this. Who was it?
It was my friend Joe.
Yeah.
Jose Iriarty. And he was saying that he didn't want to go to his. And I was like, well, I don't have a chance to go to one because my high school was in Guam.
And now Guam is off limits for you? You're not allowed back on the island?
Well, no, it's just they're not going to have a reunion where everyone has to pay like $2,000 to fly halfway across the world.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So I volunteered to go to his and pretend I was him, which would be actually the second time I impersonated him.
Okay. So the first time when you actually impersonated him, because you did not go to this high school reunion.
Yeah.
Okay. So when was the first time you impersonated someone? And can you say on the air because it might be illegal?
Um,
Did you take a test for him?
No, I'll generalize this instance.
Okay.
We were both attending a convention, and I my badge got torn off at the convention, like in the crowd, and so I didn't have a badge anymore. Like I couldn't go to any of the things. And at this convention, which this may give it away, they don't replace your badge for free. Like you have to buy a new one.
Oh.
Yeah. And Joe is actually leaving that day, so he gave me his because it says Joe on it, so I could be a Joe. You don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not so much impersonating. Did a lot of people call you Joe? Did you act as Joe? Did you break stuff?
A couple of people kept looking at my badge, and I was like, "Oh no, that's not my name."
Did you break stuff and then blame it on Joe?
No, Joe's a friend. I don't want to do
that.
Jennifer said, "I'm pretty sure you couldn't pass for Joe." I mean, I did. So
well, and then she said, "Okay, apparently I'm wrong about that because."
Love Star of David, Jay. Exactly.
That's a nice one. Although Kelsey, Love Octagon.
Yeah.
I like that one as well.
Kelsey said something really sweet. I wanted to go back to it. I first discovered Aria Kane several years ago at Coastal Magic, and Once Upon a Darkness is still one of my favorites. Thank you so much. I'm working on the sequel, actually, so yay.
And when can we be expecting that? Are you breaking news here?
I don't know when.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Way to tease it.
Sorry. Tell me when you want it. I do best with hard deadlines.
Perfect.
I know DeLorean would say like she wanted it 4 years ago, though. She's been bugging me for a while.
Nice. All right. Ready for some more tropes?
Yeah.
Okay. All adults are useless.
What? Is that a trope?
Yeah.
It's a YA trope. Yeah, you're right.
Well, just about anything. I mean, if you look at just about any kids movie, they can't rely on the adults.
Yeah.
Which I think, let me just add to this. I grew up reading and watching and consuming pop culture with that trope in it. I will believe any child anywhere if they tell me there are aliens, there's something happening, any of that. Adults, no. I will not believe adults because I've been taught that all adults are liars.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that trope? Love or rockets?
Rockets. Because of that. Because I feel like it teaches kids that like they can't trust
never go to an adult
of the adults in their life, which is
your friends are disappearing. Please do not go to an adult.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't like it. Now I like the ones that are because there are adults that are useless, right?
Sure.
In authority.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
I'm just having a conversation here. But yeah, so if there are some that are useless and then there's some that they rely on, that's fine.
A balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How about, as far as tropes go, protagonists that are blind to their beauty? No? Rockets on that one?
Yeah. Rockets. I don't like that.
So blind to their beauty could also mean like to their intelligence, to their all of these different things, right?
I think that's different. I think just the ones that are like, well, it's like the she's all that thing, right? Or like, oh, we're gonna find the most unattractive girl in school, and it's Rachel Lee Cook. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, she's got glasses.
You know? Yeah. I just think it's such a cliche, and it's just done badly so many times. So.
All right. Looks like Crystal is excited about a sequel to your book.
Yeah, looks like a couple people are.
Yeah.
Thank you. They said they wanted in time for the reading challenge for 2022 Coastal Magic. When does that start? It starts in the summer, right? Or like fall? It'll take a couple of minutes for the answer to make its way to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, it looks like we have smart adults are such a great plot obstacle in children's books.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. If we only find some smart adults. Okay, let's do one more trope and then we'll get to some of the other questions. Gruff older characters that are changed by hanging out with a kid.
Oh, I like that.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Did you see Jingle Jangle? I know I told you about it.
No. I meant to
it
watch
has that in it. It was nice.
So I keep thinking about like, I don't think Clint Eastwood, but maybe there was a Clint Eastwood movie.
There probably was.
And then I think about Clint Eastwood and I get very sad. So maybe that's not the right one for me to think about. But yeah.
Jingle Jangle.
Yeah.
Watch that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
All right.
They're saying it's June. Okay, so I have to have the sequel published by June. We'll see. That's a tough deadline.
Come on. It's like months away.
They are novellas, so they are a little bit short.
There you go. And based on the way that 2020 went, that amount of time in 2021 will feel like 7 years. So that'll be good. All right. Let's get to, you want to do some questions from the audience?
Yeah.
Great. Jennifer Morris.
Hey, Jen.
Asked, you're a judge for an audiobook competition. I know you can't talk about books you've listened to for the current year, but what is your favorite book from past years that you might not have ever picked up, if not for the contest?
I laughed when I read this question because my favorite book from last year, which is the season I can talk about, I actually read before it was assigned to me because I had chosen it on my own. And then it was also the book that ended up winning that year. It was like How to Start a Podcast by Kristen Meisner.
Oh, okay.
It was really good. But I did listen to, so last year I judged nonfiction categories, so I can say that now. And it was like kind of a catch-all category, like whatever kind of didn't fit in other categories, they threw it in. And so I got to listen to like audiobooks on so many different topics. There were audiobooks on like octogenarian quality of life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and there were some books that were like not good at all too, but
that's typically the case.
Yeah.
Not all books are going to be great.
Yeah. The one that I hated the most is probably the best-selling one from the list.
Nice. So how did you do other judging things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do other contests and things like that. How did you get involved with this one specifically? Jennifer wanted to know, and how maybe readers can get involved in judging.
I got involved because, so I write for Book Riot. And so someone posted in the Book Riot Slack 2 years ago, the Audios is looking for more judges. And I submitted, and I've written several articles about audiobooks. So I guess they approved me. So, but I think you could just go to their website and apply. I don't think they have a lot of like, it's not like who you know or anything.
Yeah.
I think you can just go and apply. So the contest I judged for is called the Audies. So it's the Audiobook Awards. Would
you say that's like was it a fun experience? Like as Jennifer kind of implies, like getting to hear stuff you wouldn't usually hear?
Are you asking that because you know the answer?
No, I don't know the answer.
You know the answer.
I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
He knows the answer because he had to listen to me complain about the audiobooks I had to listen to.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, so it's a mix. So the category that I had this year, the books are longer than average, and so it took way more time to do it. And so, but I mean, it's a mix, right? Because it's like, oh, thanks, Jen. Jen posted the link for those of you watching on Facebook. Yeah, I don't know. But last year I said that I wouldn't do it again, and then I signed up to do it again this year. So I don't know if you should listen to me.
All right. Well, let me ask you. Jennifer didn't write this, but I think this is what she would ask if she was here. So I'm going to play Jennifer for a moment.
Okay.
And whose books would you want to narrate, and who would you want to narrate something that you wrote?
One, I wouldn't want to narrate anyone.
I know there's got to be someone out there though that gets you so hyped up that you're like, yes, I would absolutely try if it was this author.
No, because I'd want them to have a better narrator.
So who do you hate enough
there you go.
to? Okay, we probably shouldn't answer that on the air. Never mind.
Question.
Yeah.
But I do have like a long list of favorite audiobook narrators.
Okay.
So, Bonnie Turbin is one of my favorites. Emily Wu Zeller. You haven't not narrated any audiobooks.
Well, I mean, everyone needs to start somewhere.
Okay. Do you want to narrate my
No,
audiobooks?
not now. No, it's fine. Totally fine. Good. So glad I was playing Jennifer Morris there for a second and not me. All right, Jennifer has another question.
Oh, okay.
What's your favorite thing about putting together the Orlando Book Festival?
Oh, yeah.
And who would your dream keynote speaker be that you would not narrate a book for?
Yes. So the Orlando Book Festival, by the way, is coming up in April, actually. So keep an eye out for like more information about it. But it's usually in person. So usually my favorite part is just like getting to meet everyone. Like it's super, super busy and so many people there. And because like the authors are there, but then also a lot of the local, literary community come to it, and I know all them, and so I just love like chatting with everyone. And then usually we'll go out for like to the pub after, and I love that because then I can stop working because it is very busy on the day of.
Sure.
And one of my dream keynotes that I've been trying to get for years is actually going to be our keynote this year. So Angie Thomas is going to be our opening keynote. Yeah. So I got her.
And what are the dates on that again?
That's April 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So look out for that. All right. Madison Fairbanks.
Hey,
are you
Madison.
ready for
She's
her
here.
question? Good. Sounds like you are very busy. What job do you like the best, and how do you stay organized to get everything else done? So if we were to lay out like all of the things that you do,
yeah,
I'd be exhausted. We wouldn't have enough time in this show. So let's just go over some of the highlights. There's obviously working as an event manager at the library. There's writing. So there is Pup Talk Live.
Yeah.
There are cats.
We're getting a visit from a cat right now.
Sorry. All of those things. How do you balance that out? Like, how do you stay organized?
Yeah. So I have a planner, and then I have Google Calendar, and then I have Google Spreadsheets. And my entire life is in those three things.
So Google is telling you what to do at any given moment.
A lot of the time, actually.
There's the cat.
Yeah. She's just gonna lay there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then so like when people ask me like how I stay so organized, how I remember everything, I'm like, I don't want to tell you because it would just be boring, because I have like a very interwoven system that you don't want to hear me talk about for 20 minutes. But then also it's like a joke at Pitch Wars that like Sarah has an Excel sheet for that, like anything at all, like I have an Excel sheet for it.
Nice.
So I was originally a mechanical engineer, and
as we all were.
I don't think so. No. And I'm a project manager, and so I use a lot of like the project management tools and stuff like that to keep organized. And as far as what's my favorite job, I don't know, because I feel like if I didn't want to do it, then I would quit it. If it was my favorite, then
they're all obviously going to be more interesting at times, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's what you're doing at the library, like it sounds for the Orlando.
Yeah, my favorite part about working in the library is meeting all the authors. I get to meet and chatting with everyone. Like it came up on my Facebook memories today. I got to meet Sharon Draper 4 years ago, who's like a award-winning like middle grade author. And I posted a selfie, and I was like, oh, I got to meet Sharon Draper. So like I love moments like that. Like I've met so many authors because of that. I met like Rainbow Rowell and Rick Yancey and Avi. Avi was one of my favorites.
So going back to like staying organized and everything, do you set time in this calendar for when to write?
I feel like you're judging me.
I'm not judging you. I'm curious, as someone who tries to find time to write, I've been told by multiple people as far as writers go, like some people set from this time to this time and I have to be done. And that takes some of the pressure off of being creative. Like it's a first draft maybe, but it's done at that point.
Yeah.
So I was just curious if that's what you did.
I don't set aside specific time to write. What I do is I have a hierarchy, right? So like if I have something due, then that goes first. And then, but then if I sit down at the end of the day, I have time at the end of the day and I've gotten everything done that's due and I'm going to watch TV, I'll make myself write for at least 20 minutes before.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then on Wednesdays, on my YouTube channel, we have the write-ins. So that's kind of my weekly set aside time to write. So we do 3 20-minute sprints in 90 minutes. So yeah, Jennifer comes to the Wednesday writing times too. And I think Jay, if she's still here, she comes to them too.
Nice. All right, let's go to Amber. Todd has a question for you. Your food looks beautiful and delicious.
Thank you.
I've been in a cooking slump. Do you have a favorite recipe you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I'm currently doing a elimination diet. I have some immune disorders. I'm trying to figure out the food triggers for them, which I've done once before a couple of years ago. And so one of my favorite meals, one of my like go-to meals, is also something that I can eat on the elimination diet. And it's one of the things I suggested tonight for dinner. It's like Dijon salmon with roasted vegetables, because it's so easy. So you just get salmon from the store and you put salt and pepper, Himalayan sea salt and pepper, and Dijon. I put it on both sides just because I like extra.
So just regular Dijon mustard. Okay.
And then you put it on the skillet, in an oven safe skillet, for like a minute or two on each side, and then you put in the oven to finish cooking it. And then I usually make that with a whole bunch of roasted vegetables, so like peppers, carrots, onions, tomatoes, sometimes asparagus. And so I have to make those first, because this salmon takes like 9 minutes to make, right? And roasted vegetables take like 40 minutes to make.
So you start on the vegetables in the morning. And then how long does it take to roast vegetables?
So I do them about 400 degrees for 40 minutes.
Oh, that could explain why I've been doing vegetables wrong.
Yeah, that's when they start getting like brown and crispy on the edges.
No, I'm just showing the cat.
Yeah.
It usually does not lay there.
Yeah. Well, she was doing it when I was here the other day for a write-in too. So yeah, she just likes the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just salt and pepper and whatever spices you want in that. Like I sometimes do Italian spices. Sometimes I'll do like a pepper. You can put roast garlic with it. Another thing I just did this week, actually, that I really liked with my roasted vegetables, I put some garlic cloves on the sheet when I went to roast them. And then after about 20 minutes,
cloves, still in the thing?
Yeah, still. Yeah. Well, not in the whole thing, but in the skin.
Unwrapped it.
Still in the skin.
Oh, okay.
And after about 20 minutes, I took them out and I squeezed the paste out, because at that point they're like mushy. Yeah. And so I put them in the bowl that I had tossed the vegetables in, and when the vegetables were done, I threw them back in the bowl and tossed it, so the garlic paste was like all over them. That was really good.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's probably one of my favorite go-to meals.
I have I'm going to play Amber for a second, and I have a follow-up question, or several follow-up questions about food. So with your food sensitivities, you've had to cook for yourself for quite a while. So is that a therapeutic sort of effort and exercise for you? Yeah.
It's like, I think it's like ritualistic, right? The preparation of food is such like a basic thing. And you can kind of you can't look at a screen while you're cooking. So it's like a nice break from looking at screens all day.
You do sometimes listen to podcasts and stuff, right? I
do listen to podcasts. And so I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Obviously, we've talked about that. But when I cook, I don't listen to audiobooks. I only listen to podcasts, because it's almost like it's my break time. Like a lot of times when I'm listening to audiobooks, even though I'm enjoying them, like it's kind of work related, because I have to write about them for Book Riot or whatever. So I listen to podcasts, and that's just like my downtime while I cook.
So it's this therapeutic, it's almost like meditation in a way. I
cook very slowly as a result. It takes me forever to like chop vegetables.
So you are what you eat. But are you where you eat? What? So do you eat? So like, for example, I get my food and I'll sit in front of a screen and eat it. What are you doing when you eat? Are you sitting at the table? Do you have stuff in front of you? Are you still in that therapeutic meditation sort of mode?
Usually I sit at the table, and usually, just because of the situation where I'm at now, I live with my parents, right? And so they're watching TV in there. And so I'll keep listening to podcasts. Okay. But sometimes I take it into my room if I and usually then I'll turn on the TV. But that's only for like some things because honestly, I'm a messy eater, like you know.
No, I didn't.
I'm always dropping stuff on the table.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, good.
Okay. Oh,
I
I'm
shouldn't have
learning a
pointed it
lot
out.
about you. Amber, you uncovered quite a bit here. All right. So one last question from DeLorean.
Oh, yeah, DeLorean.
Okay. Tell us about your love of shorts and novellas. Is that how you say that?
No.
Okay, great. I've heard you mention how much of an art form writing shorts are, and that you feel they don't get as much recognition as they should.
Yeah. So what DeLorean has probably heard me say is that I can't write short stories because they're hard. They're harder than writing novels.
Yeah. Why? Okay, so why do you think that is for you?
I don't know. I just struggle so much. Every time I write a short story and like someone reads it, like critique partners or whatever, they're like, oh, okay, when are you sending chapter 2?
Is it so? I've read before, like somebody's writing a book or they have a character in mind and the character gets away from them. The character kind of takes over and they want to tell more of a story. Is that sometimes happen when you're writing a short?
No, I think I just don't know. I don't understand like the mechanics of plotting a short story. I think maybe if I read more, because I don't read a lot of short stories. I do read novellas. That's a different thing.
What's the difference?
Well, short stories are up to about 10,000 words.
Okay.
And so a novella, I think the definition is like 20 to 45K or something. And because my writing, so when I write, my first drafts are very spare. Like I don't have, it's just dialogue and plot. I don't have like a lot of setting. I don't have like a lot of kind of like internal turmoil type stuff. And so I think that's why novellas are fine for me because they're basically like my first drafts with like a little polish.
Nice.
But yeah, short stories are so hard. And I think if I read more of them, like a lot of more of them, then I would understand their structure better. Because that's how you learn to write a book too, is you read a lot of books. Oh, is that what you're doing wrong?
That is one of the many things I am doing wrong. Let me play Jennifer Morris again for a moment because she asked a good follow-up. What are your favorite podcasts? And are they educational, informative, funny? Like, what are you listening to when you're cooking?
Well, I listen to your podcasts. I do.
Suck up.
So Daily Dose with Bob and Nick is the one that's out now. To a certain degree hasn't been because it's a radio show, so he hasn't been able to be in studio.
Yeah, the studio's closed right now because it's all volunteers. It's at the Rollins College here in Orlando, and so we are not live in the studio. And I can't seem to get that fun back. So you were on the show,
yeah,
and there's some certain amount of pressure. I really appreciate you swearing so little when we were on live radio. Barely had to use the dump button. That was very nice of you. But yeah, it's just not the same when you're doing it like at least that format, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's about it's like you interview a whole bunch of cool people in Orlando area who are doing fun things. So if you're local, you want to check that out. And then I also love You're Wrong About, which I'm actually wearing a You're Wrong About shirt today. It says, "Oh, sweetie, no," which is what they say a lot on the show.
I'm wearing my literary shirt from
You are
Barrel House.
Yeah.
Unreliable narrator, which is accurate.
Yeah, so You're Wrong About takes like things that we understand as a culture that we maybe misunderstand and misremember.
Yeah.
And breaks them down and tells us what really happened. So one of the first episodes I heard was on the Tuskegee experiment, not the Tuskegee Airmen, the experiment. And they have a fabulous series like on Princess Diana, and they've done all kinds of stuff. Like I feel like I'm always telling you about like, oh, You're Wrong About, I heard.
Well, it's interesting because we just sort of not necessarily believe it, but it becomes part of pop culture mythology. And we're just like, yeah, that's how it was. And
it's funny because they're both journalists and they're just constantly like ranting about all the things that journalists get wrong. But I like Reply All, which is like they haven't had many episodes in the last couple of months, but it's hard to explain. Thanks, Jen. Jen posted a link for the You're Wrong About podcast in the Facebook. Yeah, so one of the things they do is that if someone has like a weird like tech mystery, they'll investigate it. So the one I remember the most is like people kept showing up to this guy's house looking for their lost phones because they had turned on like the Find My Phone function and it told them it was at their house.
That's creepy.
Yeah. And the people who had owned the house before, they had the same problem. So this has been an ongoing problem. And so one of the people there, like that came, got really upset with them and was like, he was worried that they might get violent. And so he finally called Reply All. He's like, why is this happening? And they went through this whole like long investigation to figure out why. I don't want to give spoilers, so listen to it if
you have to listen to it.
But it's really good.
It's a mystery.
What else do I listen to? I listen to Joanna Penn's podcast. I listen to the Manuscript Writers Wishlist podcast. I love Print Run. They haven't been putting out episodes for a while, but Print Run is a publishing podcast by two agents. I know I'm forgetting some. I just want to pull up my podcast out right now and like scroll through. I listen to the Right Mindset that Raquel Henry does. She's local.
When you actually publish your shows as podcasts as well.
Yeah, my shows are syndicated as a podcast because people ask for it because, if you're driving around or whatever, you can't watch YouTube videos. So, yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for that follow-up question. One of the segments on my show, to a certain degree, is called Bad Business Ideas.
Yes.
Where I pitch terrible ideas to my guests and I make them choose one. Uh-huh. And so we can open this up to the audience as well, which one they like better too. Uh-huh. But I have 3 for you today.
Oh.
And they're all kind of writing or conference related.
Okay.
So I wanted to start, since this is for Coastal Magic Con. Is there such a thing, because this has happened at different events to people. There's a cat flying. Con crushes. Like you get to a con and you kind of catch the eye of somebody and you're like,
yeah.
That
that's
happens, 100%
right? Thing. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to make it a little more easy to sort of catch the eye of that person, because sometimes you have to be a little bit over the top. You're trying to be subtle, maybe raising an eyebrow here and there, maybe accidentally bumping into somebody, which we can't do right now. Please stay 6 feet away from people. So I had this idea. What do we have a lot of in Florida? With 4 legs and tails. Sorry, that was a very vague question. The run
alligators?
Around. Close. Mm-hmm. Lizards.
We have a lot.
What do lizards have when they're trying to show that they're interested or they're open for business?
Throat sacks?
Yes, inflatable throat sacks. So Magic Coastal Con will give you these. Coastal Magic Con will give you one of these, and you can inflate it when somebody's looking at you. What do you think about that?
I like it.
I thought you would.
You know what's really funny is we met at a con.
Yes, that's true.
For the first time.
Yeah, if you had had
if
a
I
throat
had
sack.
an inflatable throat sack.
All right, let's move on to writing. Something we all have trouble with, motivation. Mm-hmm. So I have a tool to help you with your motivation while you're writing.
Okay.
It's called birds watching. We train birds to stare at you while you're writing. They won't do anything. They won't act in a threatening manner, but just them watching you, it feels like they're judging you and it feels like you're going to want to make them happy.
We did talk about how I'm afraid of birds, right?
So do you think this would be a good motivator?
No. No.
So you're a no on this.
No.
All right.
No.
Anybody in the audience who thinks this would be a good idea?
I don't like birds.
Yeah. Jennifer, I don't think is into the inflatable throat sacks.
Mm-mm. Jennifer runs Coastal Magic Con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you that? I'm going to have to politely decline, dear Nick. I'm going to have to politely decline, sincerely, Jennifer. Did she think I was inflating my throat sack towards her?
No, you said that Coastal Magic should give out inflatable throat sacks.
Oh,
and she
okay.
runs Coastal Magic, so she's saying no to you.
What if I sponsor them?
Oh.
What if I sponsor the throat sacks? Our words never spoken in that order ever before. All right, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
All right, last one. What do you think when I say heavier ink?
Heavier ink?
Mm-hmm.
Like thicker ink?
Sure. I'm not sure how we would make ink heavier,
Or
but it would lead
weightier
to,
ink?
yes, heavier books. Or we can go the other way, lighter books, lighter than air ink.
Lighter than air ink?
Yeah, so it depends. So you can choose kind of your book and what format you want it in, right? You get electronic, you can get it in real, you can get large type if you need, but no one ever talks about varying the weight of the book. I mean, there's obviously the hardback versus the soft cover, but like really varying the weight. I want a heavy book.
Okay.
I need some exercise while I'm reading.
Ink is the solution to heavier book and not the paper?
I don't know that it's not. Can you say for sure that there's not such a thing as heavier ink?
No. But why not just make the paper heavier?
It would be harder to turn the page.
Wouldn't it be harder to turn the page if the weight was coming from
Okay,
ink?
so we'll work on that one. Okay, so it sounds like you're good with the inflatable throat sack, which Jennifer still is saying no to.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give them out.
You could bring
to
your
attendees.
own. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send out how to make your own to all the attendees. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna go for that. Okay.
We could put them in the welcome bags.
Yeah. There you go.
The Coastal Magic welcome bags are legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be even more so once they have throat sacks in them. Okay. All right. Well, I am good. Is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of stuff you're working on? Or I would like to hear more actually about the con itself, because I have not attended.
You haven't? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
So for people who haven't been there, like myself.
Maybe next year. Yeah, so Coastal Magic Convention, if you haven't been, which I think a lot of you in the audience have, is a convention for paranormal romance and urban fantasy, and then she's kind of opening up to other genres of romance too. And it's like a laid back beachside con in February.
In my hometown.
Yes, in your hometown. Yeah. In Daytona Beach. And authors come from all over the country and sometimes even the world. Like we had Amanda Boucher last year, who couldn't speak. She had lost her voice. So she flew like all the way across the world. And there are panels, of course, but there's also like a lot of fun things. So there's like a lot of mixers. The what is it called? The flash fiction panel is just like you would get a kick out of it. So they make up a story like on the spot. There's like 6 of them, and they're given prompts and they have to like make up a story, and then they decide when to pass it on. So they try to get the person in like the worst spot right before saying.
Perfect.
And then that one's so much fun. And so it's just a fun, relaxed convention by the beach in February.
And what panels have you done in the past, and what do you have coming up in the future?
I've done all kinds of panels, like because I've been going for like since it started. So I can't even think. We did a music one. We did one where we like made up social media memes. That was really fun. It was at the end and there weren't that many people left, but that like made it even better because then there were just like a couple of us just messing around. We did what do you call it? Like a bingo kind of meet and greet thing. So you had to find so the bingo spaces were like elements of a book that you might have, and so you had to find an author that had that element to sign off.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
So encouraging that social interaction at the
last year, we had a murder mystery party, and I had told Jen, I said, "Make me a dude. I'm not wearing a dress," basically. And so she messaged me back and she's like, well, are you okay with like a bigger part? And I was like, sure. Like, I'm not an actor or anything, but I don't mind talking to people, which is what you have to do for these, right? And then I was just like, oh, I hope I'm the murderer. I hope I'm the murderer. I was like so excited. I was like, please make me the murderer.
That's kind of disturbing.
I was the murderer.
Great. Perfect.
Jen said Sarah did it.
Yep.
I did it. But it's funny because so I'd been drinking gin and tonics all night because it was like a 20s theme and like a jazz club theme. So I was like trying to go in theme with my drink. And then it turns out...
And the number of the drinks that you had?
That's not important.
Okay.
And then it turns out the murder weapon was a gin bottle. I had no idea. They announced it and I looked at my drink and I was like, oh no. But yeah, it was a murder. So
very proud of that fact.
I was so happy. You don't even know.
Right.
I had to like walk out of the room because I was like grinning when I read my second part. Because like you have your first part of the skit and the actors don't even know who the murderer is.
Yeah.
And so there's a break and you read the second part to find out what happened. And I was like, I had to leave because I was smiling. Also because it was very long. Like I had a long list of things I had to memorize. I was like, if someone asked you this, you say this. If someone asked you this, you say this. And everyone else's had like a half a page or something. And I had like 3 pages to read. So I was like trying to read and people were already done reading theirs. so
they could kind of guess.
I had to leave the room.
Yeah. Very nice. Anything else you want to plug or talk about?
Barbie had asked, let me go back up. When is the next book of the company series coming out? That's the one with Born of Darkness. That's and apparently it's coming out late summer, early fall 2021 because that's the deadline that I've been given by DeLorean.
It's nice to get on this kind of thing and get deadlines.
Yeah, I love deadlines.
Get assigned deadlines
on deadlines
by the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Do we have any other questions from y'all? It always takes a minute for the questions to come.
Oh,
through.
Is that how it works?
Mm-hmm.
What should I do with my hands in the meantime?
What you're doing, that's okay.
I don't know where the camera is.
It's right there.
Oh, man.
It is.
This has been eye-opening. I do audio.
Video.
I know where the mic is. No one's looking at me.
Before we started, he was like making faces. I was like, are you okay?
I don't think that was the case. I was doing facial stretches and preparing to talk.
Oh, so when I started doing my show, I'm aware of the fact that I mumble a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started looking up like videos on like how to mumble less and exercises to mumble less, right? And one of the things that you can do is to like bite your finger and yawn without like removing your teeth from your finger. And I guess that like stretches out this part of your mouth that like it helps prevent mumbling, right? And but what would happen is when I started to realize that I was mumbling on camera, I would think about yawning and then yawn on the show. So if I ever yawn during a show, that's why. It's because I'm like, oh, I'm mumbling, and then
it's not because you're bored.
No, it's triggered my yawning reflex.
That makes sense. Oh, this is a good question for everyone.
Are you gonna ask it?
Oh yeah. What has your pandemic project been?
Well, I have been baking a little bit more than I did before the pandemic, but I baked a lot before, so I don't know if that really counts.
Okay.
But I did start a newsletter for virtual author and writing events. Because there were so many and it was like hard to keep track of and there was no place that had them all in one place. And so I was like, someone should do this. And then
that's how you volunteer for stuff.
Did it, yeah.
Yeah. It's gotten pretty popular.
Yeah, it has about like 1,300 subscribers. Most weeks I have like 80 to 100 events on it. And I have newsletter sponsors, so that kind of helps cover my time for it. yeah, so I don't know if you have the link, Jen. It's sarahnicolas.substack.com, where you can get that and you can subscribe to that. And it just comes every Sunday, and it has all the virtual events virtual author and writing events I can find for the next week on it. It's paid and free. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's been my project, I guess.
All right. We have another question from DeLorean. Do you have a stupid human trick?
I don't think so. Do I? I'm a super taster.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a super taster with some training too, so I can identify flavors pretty well.
Different notes of wine.
Like when I got the shrimp from the Greek place and I was like trying to figure out what was in it. Yeah. Also, I can roll my tongue, but that I'm not doing that on camera. I can do that too, but I meant the long ways.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Because that just makes me make funny faces.
Let's see if we have any other questions from Jennifer again. Is there anything about virtual events that you hope stays active once we're back to in-person events?
I like virtual events because, especially like planning them, I have such a larger pool of people who can like teach writing workshops and do author events and that kind of thing. Because before I kind of had to stick to people local. So that's an advantage. But I'm an extrovert and I love in-person events and I hate staring at a screen all day. So it's like, I like that I'm able to have more people, but I don't actually care for virtual events that much.
But do you think there's going to be more of a balance now? You're still going to have more virtual events?
Especially like the larger events. I think there's going to be a lot of them that are like simulcasting. So like ALA, the events that have the money to do like a kind of professional broadcast, right? So I think that would be great if they, so RWA, SBWI, all of those, they could probably do virtual elements of it. And then I've always said, like, for me, the most valuable part of any convention, no matter how good it is the socializing, the networking, right? But I guess if you're wanting to benefit from the programming, but you can't travel for it, then that would be a good thing for sure. And Jennifer put up the link for the newsletter, sarahnicolas.substack.com, if you want to get that weekly email about writing events. Have fun with it. And then I get to see all the events that are coming up. Sometimes I'm like, what am I doing tonight? And I look at the list.
All right. All the questions?
Yeah, I think that's
all the answers. It's some of the answers. 3 of the answers. Good.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spotlighting yourself and letting me help.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
No, so when I was trying to figure out what to do for my spotlight, Nick was like, I can interview you. So thank you for volunteering to do that. Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. All right.
Just like the old days.
Like January?
Yeah.
Last January?
Yeah.
Oh, it was December, I think.
It was one of those months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. It was before the pandemic.
Thank you, DeLorean. Thanks so much for organizing this. And Jennifer. And if you're a writer, hopefully you'll join me tomorrow on my YouTube for writing time at 8:00. So thank you, Susan. Oh, and I'm going to be doing the drawing for the audiobook. I probably will do it tomorrow. I'll just go back and look at the comments and do the drawing and post on this here so you can see it. Yeah. Bye, everyone.